First things first, Green Bay took care of the Rams. That is 3 straight losses for the team. That's all in this year. Have the Rams been figured out? Baker still hasn't figured things out. Another loss, another bad outing. Should the Browns bench their starting quarterback after losing to Baltimore last night? And Vita Vea got his tooth knocked out. Just kept on playing. Whoops. It's a tough guy league, Nick. Yeah, this one right here. You guys see which one it was? It was that one right there. Good Monday morning, everyone. Welcome to First Things First. Jenna Wolfe, Nick Wright, Chris Broussard. Oh, Kevin Wildes is just basking in the glory, soaking it all up. I was going to ask Nick about finishing the show with a tooth, but I think we all have to just take Wildes in a second because let him have his moment, Nick. Let him just marinate in the moment.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. I mean, he looks ridiculous. He's inside and it's the morning, but he's wearing sunglasses. But, yeah, marinate away, buddy. Marinate away.
Okay, Kanye. Well, then let's do it. Let's just cast everything aside and start right there. In New England this morning for you, Kevin Wildes. We do this one for you. Titans, Patriots. More Patriots, really. Wildes, you called him the baby goat on Friday. Matt Jones was baby goat-esque indeed. 310 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks. Corner J.C. Jackson forced 2 of Tennessee's 4 turnovers on the day. That defense is playing so well for the New England Patriots as they rolled to a 36-13 win over Tennessee. That is 6 straight wins for New England. So let's take a step back. Here's where we are in the AFC after 12 weeks. Look at that. Baltimore on top, but just barely. And New England, owners of the league's longest win streak, hot on their heels. So Kevin Wildes, my friend, I will start with you. Are you ready to call your New England Patriots the best team in the AFC?
Oh, Jenna, I am very ready. And listen, the Patriots are the best team in the AFC only if you care about things like record, offense, and defense. If you don't care about that, then maybe they're not. But if you care about record, defense, and offense, we're the best. First, let's talk about the record.
Wildes, before...
There's no team in the AFC...
real quick. Wildes, this is too important...
See, America doesn't want to hear us bicker.
This is too important of a moment for you to not have your mic right. I think your mic has fallen off you in your excitement and about those sunglasses in your team. And I really, this is going to be
He's too worried about being cool.
You know, you're right. This is going to be probably the pinnacle of your television career and the Patriots season. So I want you to be mic'd properly. Go ahead,
Especially if you're going to post this.
Should I talk like this so all of America can hear me? Yes, all right. I'll talk like this so all of America can hear me. Across the NFL, the dynasty is back. Here's the thing. No team has more wins than the Patriots in the AFC. We've won 6 in a row, 8 in a row if you count those pesky moral victories that I told you to be worried about. Oh, I was laughed at. Moral victories don't count. You don't think so? Well, now they are rearing their ugly heads in a 6-game winning streak. Now, look, people will be like, well, Wildes, hold on. The Ravens have won 8 in a row. I guess. Did you watch the game last night? Were you impressed by the Ravens? What about the Titans? They've got 8 wins, too. Yeah, that's true. We just beat them by 23 points. So, yes, I think we have the best record in the AFC. I'm counting last night's Ravens game as a loss for Lamar. How about the defense? Wildes, is the defense any good? Yeah. There's only one team allowing fewer than 16 points, and that's the New England Patriots. Our point differential is the best in the entire NFL. So the defense is good, too. And then finally, you know I got to talk about him. You know I got to talk about him. I got to talk about the kid. Why am I calling him a kid? Because he's young? No. Because that's the official name for a baby goat. The kid was doing his thing. People are like, no, Wildes, don't compare the baby goat to the goat. Wildes, it's unfair to compare the baby goat to the goat. Okay, am I allowed to state facts? Am I allowed to say that the baby goat is the most accurate quarterback in franchise history? If I'm not, then let's throw facts out the window. The baby goat is at 70% for the year. He finished this month at 79%. And Nick, here's why the baby goat was so impressive, and I know what you're going to say. But Wildes, he missed a pass to Hunter Henry. I agree with you, buddy.
I expect the baby goat to make every pass too. But occasionally, humans are flawed, and so are goats. So for that reason, Nicholas, yes, I am ready to proclaim
so are goats,
mic on,
Nick.
mic off, mic hanging out of the Foxborough sound system. Yes, the Patriots are the best team in the AFC.
Okay, you are incorrect about a lot there. First one is, I'm not going to criticize Mac Jones today. Even though he had the drive where he signaled for a first down despite coming up 3 yards short and missed the pass on Henry, you're right. Guys have bad moments. I thought yesterday he finally threw the ball for more than 200 yards. Hell, he threw the ball for more than 300 yards. I thought he played well yesterday against a Titans team that on some of these plays looked like the defense had somewhere else to be. That touchdown we keep showing on the short crossing route, some of the worst defensive effort I've ever seen from an alleged playoff team. The Tennessee, not this one, but the next touchdown pass, it's just pathetic by Tennessee. But Mac Jones played well. This is the one. What are the Titans doing here? Mac Jones played well.
Block.
The Patriots defense obviously is excellent, and they have the best coach, not just in the NFL. They have the best coach in football history, and he proves it week in, week out. And a lot of folks need to go back and revise their anti-Belichick takes from last season. With all that said, the Patriots are clearly and obviously not the best team in the conference. Right now, the Chiefs and the Bills are better than them. And if you guarantee me a team is going to play their A game, Patriots A game versus Team X's A game, not only would I put the Chiefs and the Bills ahead of them, I would put the Bengals and the Ravens ahead of them because of their ceiling.
Oh, come on.
Right now, no, I would. I absolutely would. But the Bengals and Ravens do not consistently give you their A game. The Ravens have given you their A game maybe 3 times all season. The Bengals gave it to you yesterday, but not the week before. The Bengals are hot and cold. So right now, I would have the Patriots 3, 4, 5 in that area with Baltimore and Cincinnati. That's not an insult. It is a compliment given where I thought they were. But the best team in the AFC, Broussard, there's a reason Wilds, as of a week ago, wouldn't call them that. Because deep down, he knows they're not better than Kansas City. And I think deep down, he's pretty afraid of Buffalo, who they're about to play here this coming weekend.
All right, first of all, Nick, it's good to see that you've come aboard the Patriots bandwagon. Now you understand they are a playoff team, like Wilds and I told you way back in the preseason. I also see you, and I called this last week. I had to let the cat out the bag. I had to let America know that deep down inside, secretly, privately, you are a Mac Jones fan. You know the guy can ball. You seem to be coming. You're giving us a little of that now. I like that. But as often is the case, let me be the voice of reason. Wilds, you've gone a bit too far. I'm willing to give you this. You know, I have not thought of the Patriots as a Super Bowl contender. I said they'll make the playoffs, and that's it. Be happy with that. Mac Jones is just a rookie. No rookie's ever led, yes, I'm going to say it. No rookie has ever led a team to a Super Bowl appearance. However, there's a first time for everything.
Let's go, Broussard.
And I am willing to say that the Patriots are a contender. They're a legitimate Super Bowl contender now. They get in the tournament, which they will. They've got a shot. But I am with Nick that Kansas City is the best team in the AFC. That's the only team I definitively put ahead of New England. He mentioned several others, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Buffalo, and he's right. Their A games, their ceiling, I believe, is higher than New England's, but they're inconsistent. New England is steady as she goes, and that's what you like.
Correct.
And Mac Jones, steady. Yesterday, you said it. Outstanding pass for the touchdown to Kendrick Bourne against the blitz. I mean, he threw, 41-yarder, I believe it was, to Jacoby Myers. Nick always wants to say he dinks and dunks. No, he can do more than that. The running game is stout.
He played well
the
yesterday.
Defense is stellar. Here's the thing, though, Wilds, and I want you to address this. The defense obviously is very good, but they haven't exactly faced a murderer's row lately. Okay, Tennessee without Derrick Henry. I mean, just say, hold on. Because I said it about Buffalo. I got to say it about New England because it's true. Derrick Henry's out. Ryan Tannehill can't carry you. Look at this. Baker Mayfield, we know they can't score. Atlanta, they're hapless. Everybody knows that except Nick. Then you got Carolina. They had Sam Darnold at that point. The Jets, Mike White was the quarterback. All right, and then, Wild, you got to address this. Because when they have faced competent quarterbacks, Brady will throw that out because it was emotional. Dak Prescott and the Cowboys put 35 points on the Patriots. Justin Herbert and the Chargers put 24 on the Patriots. And I'm not going to say Kansas City's defense is as good as New England's, but they held Dak and the Cowboys to 9 points. Okay? They held the Raiders to 14 points. So I like Kansas City better, but I will upgrade your Patriots to legitimate Super Bowl contender.
Okay, we did hold the greatest quarterback in the history of the sport to his worst performance in the regular season. So I don't think you can just throw that out. The mind games are part of it, and we don't get to make the schedule. Trust me, Belichick and I have spent a long time petitioning the league office. Excuse me, can we please make the schedule? Can we please determine who's going to be hurt and who's going to not be hurt? We're not allowed to, and we will continue to try. Yeah. But until then, we just have to settle for having the best scoring defense in the entire league. And Broussard, I appreciate you being the voice of reason, declaring that the Patriots are going to the Super Bowl. I agree, buddy. We are going to the Super Bowl. Thank you, Broussard.
No, just I have not changed my pick. Chiefs.
Point of order, because Broussard invoked my name and one of my playoff picks. Atlanta Falcons tied for the last playoff spot in the NFC, buddy. The Saints would love to be in that position. Jenna, now we can move on. Don't besmirch the Falcons this morning, my friend. Don't you dare.
There's no hope.
Don't you dare. Tied.
By the way, you want the Patriots to play a nice opponent. They got Buffalo next. Let's see how they fare in that game. Yeah. Speaking of good quarterbacks, because we talked baby goat, Aaron Rodgers, the pinky toe, not a problem yesterday. Did he deliver the very best performance on NFL Sunday? Back after this, First Things First.
Also, my
time now for eye openers. I don't know if you are. I actually am sensing that you're not. I'm going to get you started. Rams-Packers at Lambeau. Here's a question for you. Would Aaron Rodgers' toe injury, with all the off-field drama, all the noise, was it going to slow down the reigning MVP? In a word, no. Threw for 307 yards and 2 touchdowns. Ran one in, too, right past Jalen Ramsey. Aaron Rodgers got the win, and thus was my eye-opener. But Chris Broussard, who opened your eyes on Sunday?
All right, Jenna, in case people haven't figured it out, I've lived all over these United States of America. All right, but my roots are in Louisiana. That's where my roots are. That's where I was born. So I've always liked Leonard Fournette from his days in high school in New Orleans to his time at LSU. And I am happy to see his rejuvenation with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Obviously, he was great last year, especially in the playoffs. But yesterday, on a day when Tom Brady was pedestrian, let's just face it, and a day when Tom Brady was outplayed by Carson Wentz, certainly in the first half, Leonard Fournette carried the load. His first 100-yard rushing game, guys, in his last 25 contests. All right, 4 TDs, 3 on the ground, 1 through the air. And I think when I look at the great running backs in the league, most of them are in the AFC. And I believe, I put it out there a few weeks ago, I think Leonard Fournette could be a Pro Bowler this year. Believe it or not, it'd be his first time in the Pro Bowl, Nick. But he's having a great season for them, and he certainly carried the mail yesterday.
Stay with me for a moment, Broussard. I'm glad you picked this game. That was a disastrous loss for the Colts. Just brutal for them. They had the game won. They're up 10, driving. Wentz starts turning the ball over, the strip sack. Great win for the Bucs, who had struggled on the road. But what I found interesting, because I was thinking about when you were talking Michigan, Ohio State, I can't remember a year the Heisman has been this wide open and the NFL MVP this wide open. Right now, Brady's the betting favorite. Brady didn't play great. Josh Allen's second. Mahomes is third. Mahomes having the worst year of his career. The NFL MVP feels wide open. Heisman feels wide open.
Nick.
Heisman basically done. Rodgers got a good shot at this point, and we'll talk more about him in a bit. I'm going to talk about someone who will get 0 MVP votes, but once won it. That person is Cam Newton. Yikes, buddy. Here's the thing. We're all rooting for you, Cam, but it's a tough look when you tell the whole world you're back, and then they're like, oh, yeah, he is back. That looks a lot like Patriots Cam Newton. Believe it or not, the numbers are worse than that. 5 of 21 for 92 yards, but he had a 64-yard gain on one pass. So on his other passes, he was 4 of 20 for 28 yards, 2 picks, was a mess the whole time. And Carolina had to win at least one and probably both of their last 2, Washington and Miami. I think they have an easy game next, but then after that, it is 4 consecutive games against playoff caliber opponents or teams at least with a winning record. They're cooked. They're done, and Cam appears to be cooked and done as a starting quarterback. I've been kind of, I don't want to say flip-flopping, but I've been on the extremes on Cam. I think Cam, if he wants it, he still obviously is the best short yardage quarterback ever, and still to this day the best short yardage quarterback. That should be his place. Get on a team, I'm not just saying this because it's my team, like the Chiefs, who doesn't like to run quarterback sneaks because they're afraid of their quarterback getting injured, and have a Cam Newton package. But he can't be a starting quarterback in this league. It at least doesn't look like it. That was the worst game I've ever seen him play.
So I didn't want him to leave the Patriots. I thought he would work great on goal line situations and provide leadership.
Yep.
But he did mention, I'm not making this up, that his aura is a distraction. So that's what makes him great, his aura. But his aura is distracting to people. It's tough to have an aura that powerful. Okay, my answer is Big Ben. And speaking of the Patriots, I'll make a confession. Patriots got rid of Tom Brady too soon. Was probably a mistake. But you know what the bigger mistake is? Holding on to your franchise quarterback for too long. And that's what we're seeing in Pittsburgh. Right. Big Ben put up some decent numbers, I guess. 263 yards. Most of that was just in garbage time. He threw a pick 6 to end the first half that made it 31-3. Here's the biggest indictment on Big Ben and the Steelers as a whole. Because I believed in them last year. They're like, wow, they're not as good. I'm like, I don't know, they were 11-0. Call me crazy. I believed in an 11-0 team, and then they fell apart. Since they were 11-0, the Steelers are 6-10-1. That is not good. And I don't know what their Steelers' future is. They're kind of caught. Are they rebuilding? Are they tanking? Because if you're the Patriots, we kind of bottomed out there. And in a quarterback-heavy draft, we lucked into the baby goat. I think Steelers are still going to be good enough to compete. And when it comes down to quarterback time, they might not have a guy there. So what are you doing? Dwayne Haskins not the answer. You're going to try to roll the dice and maybe entice Russ there? Not sure, but things are looking bad in Pittsburgh, Jenna.
It's Rodgers, Wild.
You think
Tomlin's out there
Rodgers
literally winking at him. Right, well, Tomlin's out there literally flirting with him mid-game.
That would be nice.
If they were to have Rodgers, they're awesome. But you're right.
If he can't go to Cleveland, go to Pittsburgh.
Cleveland.
Well, he's going to Cleveland and throwing him in the garbage.
Hey, remember the rock and roll.
Should we talk about Cleveland? They already have a quarterback, although do they? Is it time for the Browns to sit Baker after another loss last night? So. They might need Aaron Rodgers. Toss that around next. First things first. We head to Baltimore now. Browns and Ravens last night. An ugly one for both teams. For Lamar, a career-high 4 picks. If only Baker and the Browns could have capitalized on it, but alas, they could not. And the Ravens did just enough to eke out a win. This wasn't pretty. 16-10 was your final. Browns fall to 6-6. Ravens improved to 8-3. After the game, Lamar on how to bounce back after last night's subpar performance.
Well, just watch film and critique myself like I always do. I'm hot, dude. I threw 4 interceptions, 3 first half. I feel like those drives, when the interceptions came, we could have did something on those drives. We could have put points on the board. And I just told my team, like, that's me. I owe y'all.
So Ravens are making a habit out of winning these tight games. Now 6-1 in games decided by 8 points or less. I have to imagine that luck's going to run out at some point. But Chris Broussard, how should Ravens fans feel after getting a win despite 4 picks from Lamar last night?
Well, Jenna, you're happy, obviously, with the win because despite Kevin Wildes' strange ruminations about records and what's actually a win, what's actually a loss, the Ravens do have the best record in the AFC. They just do. All right. And as you said it, Jenna, they've been able to find a way to win some ugly games, some tight games, some wild comeback type games. So you like all that. But it's Super Bowl or bust for the Ravens. And the fact of the matter is they have not been good. And Lamar Jackson is number one. He has the right attitude to come out of a slump. I love his demeanor and everything after the game, accepting the blame, telling his teammates it's on me. But Lamar's been struggling mightily. All right, we all saw yesterday with the 4 interceptions. But really, he hasn't, for the most part, played well in like the last 5 games. He always has his moments. And yesterday had it with the long pass where he scrambled, right? The long pass to Mark Andrews. Andrews, tremendous one-handed catch. And then he scrambled, got away from 3 Browns rushers, and to throw the touchdown to Andrews, which was enough to get them the W. But for the most part, he's been bad. 7 touchdown passes, 9 interceptions, Nick, over the last 5 games for Lamar. He hasn't had a rushing touchdown since week 2 against Kansas City. And so teams, they're not having figured him out, but they're certainly causing him trouble. And then on the defensive end, you love the way they played yesterday. But remember, they're great against the run and not so much against the pass. They're actually horrible against the pass. And Baker Mayfield couldn't make them pay. But when they've played quarterbacks that could, Derek Carr, Carson Wentz, they've thrown for over 400 yards. And Patrick Mahomes threw for almost 350. You're going to have to beat good quarterbacks to get to the Super Bowl. And that's where the concern is about this Ravens team.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that. Quick little personal anecdote. Back when I lived in Texas, my daughter, when she was in 2nd grade, was a cheerleader for kids football. And I once went to a 4-hour youth football game in the Texas Sun that ended 7-0 in double overtime. This was a worse football game than that. I finally trumped something that was a worse viewing experience than baking in the sun watching 7-year-olds run into each other. That was the worst Sunday night football game I've ever seen. I can't, even before, like back when Sunday night was like the lower package and it always got the bad games, this was worse than that. That was unwatchable. And I still want to believe in Baltimore because I know how good Lamar can be. But they are a hard team to believe in, Wildes. Twice, they've played 4 games this year that were not in doubt at the end. They're 2-2 in those. Jenna mentioned it. They have played 7 what I would call coin flip games. Going 6-1 in those 7 is not a good sign. That is a sign of a hot roulette wheel, which doesn't exist. It's just randomness. And eventually it's going to come around the other way. And I do think for all the talk of, oh, the league's figured out Mahomes, the league's figured out, there is an element of go attack Lamar repeatedly, go blitz him, and he needs to adjust. It's not about figuring it out. It's about the defense adjusting, then him adjusting back. And right now he hasn't. And that schedule, if you saw it, the rest of the way, there's not an easy game. You have Cleveland again. You have 2 against Pittsburgh. You have Green Bay. I think in Cincinnati. I think that's the rest of their schedule. So they are the 1 seed right now, Wildes. They're not going to stay there. And so yes, the Ravens should feel good that once again they escaped. But this game should feel better, only slightly better than the Lions win they had early in the year, where they needed a 66-yard field goal at the gun after converting a 4th and 19. The Browns were terrible, and the Ravens were only slightly less terrible yesterday. The Ravens, they look shaky as I can remember.
Yeah, they look lucky. They look like a lucky team that lucks into 6-1 in one-score games. And Lamar's interceptions, oddly, the most difficult throws were completed, and the easier throws were intercepted. Yep. But both of those difficult throws where Harbaugh's like, that's what he can do. That's amazing. I'm like, I guess, except against a better defense or as people that are paying attention, those get picked off too. Here's the thing. The Ravens do not have a dominant win. They played the Chargers. They have one dominant win against the Chargers. Everything else has been close. Their point differential is plus 23. It's 50 points less than the Bengals. So look, what about the defense? The defense kept them in. All right, that defense, which Broussard mentioned, gives up the same amount of yards as the Jacksonville Jaguars. So spare me that this defense is so good. The Ravens are a lucky team. They're lucky to be 8-3. I don't think anyone in the AFC fears them at all, Jenna. Certainly not Bill Belichick and the Patriots.
All right,
so say it.
Hold off on that. I do want to talk about the Browns side of it. Check this out. Look at Baker Mayfield, just dropping the ball. Literally just dropped it last night. And that fumble was just one of Cleveland's ugly mistakes. A number of mistakes in this one. Nick said it. Ravens played terribly, and the Browns played even worse than that. Head coach Kevin Stefanski was asked after the loss, will there be a change at the quarterback position?
No.
Well, why not?
Let me ask you a question. Why would we do that?
Well, the points, just aren't there.
Yeah, we're not doing that, Tony.
Seems pretty definitive. Nick, are the Browns making the right call, sticking with Baker? The Baker we've seen the last couple of weeks, the Baker we know is injured, and the Baker we know can play like that.
No. And the question I was going to ask, because I hadn't heard that sound, I had just read it, was who's in charge for Cleveland? And evidently Kevin Stefanski doesn't know either, because he's asking if Tony Grossi wants to have personnel control. Tony Grossi, who he just asked the question back to, would have known Baker Mayfield's too hurt to play. And if you're going to play your hurt quarterback, either don't call the quarterback-designed run sneak on 3rd and a long 1, or don't let him audible into it. They were playing Baker yesterday as if he were healthy. He's not. And this is an abject failure of a season for the Browns, Broussard. They also have a brutal schedule the rest of the way. They're not going to make the playoffs. Baker, whether it's injury or otherwise, is regressing. And think about it like this, Broussard. They had a 2-year head start on Cincinnati for the rebuild. Cincinnati's way ahead of them now. I think Cincinnati's got the better quarterback. Cincinnati seems to be the more complete team. How do you let that happen? So I think they could have won with Case yesterday. I think Baker healthy is obviously better than Case, but he ain't healthy. Case could have, he can't score 17. Scored 17 and beat the Broncos. He scored 17.
All right, look, Nick, you and Wilds seem to want them to be playing flag football, touch football. Baker should be playing. I'm going to answer the question bluntly. Should they make a quarterback change? No. Are they right to stick with Baker? Yes. All right. There's a difference, and you guys know this, between being injured and being hurt. Injured, you can't play. When you're hurt, you can play. The medical staff has cleared him to play. Guys, Phillip Rivers played through a torn ACL. You remember that game, Wilds, against your beloved Patriots, AFC title game. Tom Brady played all of last season with a torn MCL. Michael Vick's been on our set saying he played with a broken finger. Russell Wilson's back. It's called football. And that means you got to fight through the pain. Vita Vea, yes. How could you step into the locker room with a Vita Vea if he was on your team?
Well, let me ask you this, Broussard. Hold on. Wait. Let me ask you this, Broussard.
Softness.
Wait, it's not softness. It's effectiveness. I feel like you have to believe, I feel like one of these two things. Either option A, Baker is flatly no good, or option B, the injuries are hampering him to a drastic degree. I don't believe Baker's no good. So I don't think he's hurt. I think he is injured, and I think he's trying to prove he's tough, and it's hurting the team. Which is why, Broussard, someone should step in.
Yourself.
There are adults in the room that can say Case Keenum is playing until you get healthier.
Here's the thing, Nick. There was a third option you didn't throw out there, and that's where I'm at. He's better than Case Keenum. We're talking about Case Keenum like he's going to be Kurt Warner. Okay, Case Keenum is 28-35 as a starter. Case Keenum has had 5 seasons in which he started 8 or more games and 1 winning season in those 5 years. All right, Case Keenum's not the answer. Season. I get it. Baker is compromised. He's not playing well at all. But he is your best option. And you guys know, Wilds, here's where I'm at. Go after Aaron Rodgers. Okay, it's a pipe dream, so what? Go after Russell Wilson. Go after Deshaun Watson if he's able to play in the offseason. But chances are Baker Mayfield is your quarterback at least of the near future. And why in the world would I cause problems with him by benching him for Case Keenum? I think even he would understand if I'm going after Russell Wilson. But for Case Keenum, no. It's not worth it because Keenum's not going to deliver. Stick with Baker and take what you get.
Okay, so first of all, I've never seen anything more impressive on sports television than Broussard just breaking out the Case Keenum career stats on a whim. Like, hey, guys, do you know this about Case Keenum? Like, whoa, that was very impressive. Secondly, hey, Pepper, can we show the... show in the box the Baker slipped like whoopsie-doo fumble. Because, Broussard, I want your take on this. To me, that play was so strange. It usually happens in a bad weather game, right? Mud game, a rain game. Why did this happen to Baker? It's his left arm that hurts, not his right arm. Don't you think that he's afraid of just taking the sack here and getting smashed and got nervous and lost the ball? And that is as much as, like, we don't believe in Case Keenum, that Case Keenum just like, you know what? I might not be great, but I'm healthy enough to take a sack. That's the thing. It's not all Baker like being able to make the long throw. It's also the ability to just sit there and absorb a big hit, which I think he was afraid to do here.
I mean, that play's hard to explain. I have no explanation for that.
Weird.
I really think he just lost the ball. Wilds, I will say this. I haven't seen any evidence of him being afraid to take hits. I mean, you may think that is, but he's playing with just as much gusto and guts as he always has.
It's a weird
so I don't think he's afraid to take the hit, but I guess it's arguable on that play.
Of course he's not afraid. Because with respect to Baker, no one's ever called him a genius. I think he's got a little, what's the word for it? Hey, he's a tough guy. Maybe not the brightest guy in the world, tough guy. But he can't play right now. He's hurt. He's dropping the ball. He's a tough football player. That's fine. He's too injured to be effective. Lamar was playing for the Browns yesterday, and they lost.
Nick, if we left it up to you, Ronnie Lott never would have cut off his finger.
Okay, running off, I'm playing quarterback.
That's football. Cutting off limbs, baby.
Browns have the bye now, so let's see if Baker can get a little better. Then they got Baltimore again. All right, moving on. Did the Rams get exposed by a Packer team that appeared to have LA's number? Talk all the angles next. First things first. First things first, talking Rams, Packers, and the big question coming in, tough guy Aaron Rodgers, fractured pinky toe. How would it affect him last night going up against a star-studded Rams defense? Turns out it wouldn't affect him at all. He diced them up for 307 yards and 2 touchdowns. And for the Rams, another mistake-filled night. Matt Stafford, is he playing hurt? Is he not playing hurt? His fumble led to a Packers score. He got pick-sixed as well. Packers win this one, 36-28. Nick, what was the bigger deal yesterday? The Packers' dominance or the Rams' struggles?
Well, the bigger deal's the Rams. Pro tip, maybe don't model your franchise against a Russian gangster poker player with the most obvious tell in the history of gambling. Yeah, when he's eating the Oreo, he's got the nuts, guys. We figured that out early in the movie. And the Rams, since beating Tampa 2 months ago, they're 4-4. And the 4 wins have come against terrible teams, and the 4 losses have come against the good ones. And you watched last night, Broussard, and you know what it looked a lot like? I recognize that Matt Stafford. That's the Matt Stafford that throws a beautiful deep ball and at times looks like, why isn't he one of the 5 best quarterbacks in football? But also will make some head-scratching decisions, and that fumble was atrocious. I have seen the best quarterbacks in football have their arm back, have it tomahawk chopped down, and hold on to the ball like they've got Gorilla Glue on their fingers. His elbow is lightly tapped, and he loses the football. So listen, we are barreling towards, Broussard, round 1, Rams at Cowboys. 2 teams, all in, Super Bowl expectations, and one of them is going to go home on the first playoff weekend of the year. So I think it's a big deal for a Rams team that has put all their eggs in this year's basket to see, okay, we're good, but we're not as good as the other good teams. We're not good enough, and I don't see that changing.
I'm with you, Nick, and it's because of the last thing you said. They're all in. Now, I'll give them a few years, right? They got about a 3-year window to win a Super Bowl with Matt Stafford. Or all that you gave up in addition to Jared Goff, oh my, because we know all the draft picks that they've given up to win the Super Bowl now. All right, and you said it. The fact of the matter is they are 1-4 against teams with winning records this year. All right, all the wins, they got 1 good win. Of their 7, they've beaten 1 team with a winning record, and that was Tampa Bay. All right, outside of that, they have struggled. And while everyone was praising Matt Stafford and the acquisition of him, and I'm like, look, he's a good quarterback. But I was like, can we pump the brakes on the MVP talk? Can we pump the brakes on the Super Bowl date that the Rams have locked up with Matt Stafford? Because his record entering this season, guys, was 8-68 against winning teams. 8-68. And what we've seen this season,
he's on that same trajectory.
Right. It's just a continuation. Yesterday, he had a few nice passes. Van Jefferson, the 79-yarder. Odell Beckham Jr., the 54-yarder, whatever it was. But he had a lot of bad moments, too. He wasn't horrible, but he was missing some throws. You showed the fumble. 3rd straight game with the pick 6. These are all big games. 3 straight big games. All right? 3 good teams, and he's thrown a pick 6 in each of them. Nick, I think this is a Matt Stafford issue. And the defense, and you probably talk about this too, the defense isn't close to what it was last year, and that's a problem too.
And I was talking last night with a buddy of mine that's a real big believer in the Rams, and he tried to convince me not to say this, not to say that they're, that they're in huge trouble. Said, hey, it's the same trajectory as the Bucs last year. Bucs mediocre through 75% of the season, lost to the good teams, then got hot at the end. The difference is the Bucs quarterback had been to 9 Super Bowls and gave everyone the confidence he would come through. Stafford's played in 3 playoff games and won none of them. And let me say one other thing about the Rams Wilds before we move on. I know it's against sports media rules to ever even imply Sean McVay made a mistake, but Sean McVay for 4 years now has been bad situationally on 4th down stuff, and last night he expanded it to one of the most bizarre 90-second drills I've ever seen in my life watching football. I thought Aikman was going to leave the stadium in protest when they called that run play on 3rd down, down 11, with a minute left and no timeouts. It made no sense in the moment. What are you doing, McVay? So, I don't trust the quarterback as much as I trust the other NFC playoff quarterbacks. Situationally, Sean McVay needs to learn some things. It's not a great recipe.
Okay, so my takeaway, Nick, was the Packers. I know it's like, Packers, a great team, played great. I think there's something else happening with the Packers, Broussard. They reminded me of the Last Dance Bulls. And remember, before the season started, Rodgers and Davante Adams posted the matching pictures of Jordan and Pippen fist bumping. It's like, last dance, last run. But they forgot one other guy in the last dance, and it was Rodman. I thought last night's game was like a Rodman game, and here's why. Because no matter what was happening in Dennis Rodman's career and life, he's going on to wrestling matches, he's going to Vegas, he's doing God knows what. When it came time for the game, Rodman showed up and delivered. And that's what I think we saw last night from Aaron Rodgers. His toe is hurt. He can barely move. He took a painkiller. What did he do? Rushed for touchdowns. He had the most rushing yards yesterday than he had in the entire season. What else happened? Oh, he didn't practice. He looked perfect. We were talking about on this show. Nick's like, hey, he hasn't practiced. It's a big deal. We're like, yeah, that's a big deal. Got to practice. He looked great. And here's the other thing. Broussard, I had a lot of choices of plays I could have picked to describe how relaxed the Packers look. I could have been that 4th and 2. He threw a tight window. There was another long pass down the sidelines to Davante Adams. He almost triple coverage, caught it, looked perfect. But I'm going to choose a weird one. It's this Davante Adams pass when he hits a Packers staffer. Hits him, he goes down. And this is a 20-17 game. Davante Adams takes time, picks up his hat, and puts it on this guy. There was just a vibe where the Packers are relaxed, the Packers are at home, the Packers are not worried, to the point that they're doing wardrobe changes for the staff members on the sidelines. Meanwhile, Aaron Donald's choking guys, and we feel like we're celebrating, like Odell got a touchdown, his turns back. There just felt like there was a stress about the Rams and a carefreeness and greatness about the Packers that I think make them not only a dangerous team, but the best team in the league.
Yeah, that's a great take, Wilds. And you're right. Aaron Rodgers, while it seems like he's cracking under the media pressure off the field, on the field, he is tremendous. And they do look, right now, they look like the best team in the league. You know, we still got plenty of time. I'm not predicting they win the Super Bowl, but they look right now like the best team in football. And Rodgers, Nick, and I didn't think he had a shot at winning MVP. I personally don't think that all the off-the-field shenanigans, the immunization instead of vaccinate, all that, I don't think that would stop him from winning the MVP. And he has got to be in the running now because he's been, think of all the elite quarterbacks in the league. They've all had bad games. They've all been up and down. Except Rodgers. The first game against New Orleans, he was horrible. Since then, he's been great. Every game hasn't been great, but he's had no bad games. He's always been at least good, and they've got some great wins. They right now, Nick, do look like defensively, offensively, running the football, passing it, the best team in football.
And I think we're just almost underselling how impressive his performance this week was, because it's not only he didn't practice. Think about how much research he had to present to the league about the shot he got in his foot. I mean, he probably wasn't even able to pay attention to the game. I mean, he had a lot of balls in the air, buddy. He had a lot going on and somehow manages that performance. Good for him. I mean, you get to a quarterback that can do both, Jenna. That's what I say.
Said he had no feeling in that pinky toe the whole game. We talk about a team playing equally as well. The New England Patriots. Are they all of a sudden the team to beat in the AFC? A very giddy Kevin Wildes when we come back. First things first. Time now for stories to start your morning, sponsored by Ram Trucks, built to serve. And Wildes, I'll say it for you. The Patriots are back. Titans, Pats, and the story in this one, Mac Jones and that defense. For the rookie, very efficient, 310 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And for that defense, shutting down the Titans in the second half. Corner J.C. Jackson forcing 2 of Tennessee's 4 turnovers on the day. Patriots win 36-13. That is 6 in a row for New England, which puts them in the conversation for one of the best in the AFC. Check it out. After 12 weeks, Baltimore on top of New England, owners of the league's longest win streak, hot on their heels. All right, Kevin Wildes, you ready to call your Patriots the best team in the AFC?
Oh, in a major way. And before I do, Jenna, quick correction.
Finally.
And I told everybody this. Yes. Quick correction. We are actually 10-2. We have won 8 straight games. We have won 6 in a row, and we have those 2 moral victories over the Bucs and the Cowboys. I told you. I said, be careful. These are moral victories, and everyone laughed at me. Well, guess what? The moral victory was a little seed I planted in the ground. And what bloomed out of it? Oh, my gosh, a 6-game win streak. I told you, went head-to-head with Dak, went head-to-head with Tom Brady, and the baby goat said, hold on, I can do it. So here's the story. Officially, we are the 2nd best team in the AFC. The other 2 teams that have 8 wins, one of them's quarterback just threw 4 interceptions, and the other team we just beat by 23 points yesterday. So record, we're good. How about our defense? How are they playing? Well, it's the best scoring defense in the entire league, not just the AFC. Oh, Wilds, but they played a hurt Baker, and they played the Jets, and they played. We don't get to create the schedule. I wish we could. And Belichick has been petitioning for years to play whoever he wants to in whatever order he wants. The league has denied us. So we have to play who's on the schedule. Just so happens we've won 6 in a row. And how we do it? Are we squeaking by? Nope. Huge point differential. In fact, the best in the entire AFC. It's better than those pesky Bills. It's better than the... Oh, my goodness, not an AFC graphic. It's an entire NFL graphic. And better than the Bucs with the adult GOAT. And a lot of people are like, Wilds. Don't compare adult GOAT and baby GOAT. It's not fair. Just because they both have GOAT in their nickname, you shouldn't always compare them. Well, what do you want me to do, guys? These are just the facts. Mac Jones is the most accurate quarterback in Patriots history.
Where you lose us,
he is. Because,
yeah.
Nick,
and that's where you
I didn't give him the nickname the baby GOAT. I am just trying to showcase it and give it a larger platform. Yeah. Baby GOAT has completed 79% of his passes in November. So look, are we the best team in the AFC? You tell me. We have the best record, the best defense, and the most accurate passer in Patriots history. Yeah, I would say that we're the best team in the AFC. And we haven't even had our bye yet.
You don't have the best record. You assigned yourself the best record, but you don't actually have it. And you don't have the most accurate passer in Patriots history. He has the highest completion percentage. But since Wild's big completion percentage guy, because before we do the blind reveal, I wanted to say what the gist of it is. Patriots have the best coach in football. They are in the argument for the best defense in football. So why would they not be the favorites in the AFC? Because of their quarterback, who played well yesterday. But because in the AFC playoffs, unless you're up against the Titans, there's not really a quarterback that's going to be in there that you think deep down your guy's better than. But I know you're a big completion percentage guy and you're a big quarterback wins guy. So can we show, there's not a lot of quarterbacks with a higher completion percentage than Mac Jones. Can we show one of them though? So you'd be like, oh, okay. Those are similar seasons. Spoiler alert, the guy on the left hasn't played the full year, missed a few games. Slightly better completion percentage, a little lower yards. Who's that other guy? Oh, Wilds, quarterback wins guy. It's a guy who beat Mac Jones. That's Tua. So again, just like, and I know you're a huge quarterback wins. He has the win against Mac Jones, obviously better. Both Alabama products, by the way, both completing 70% of their passes. One would almost think, Broussard, that completion percentage might be a touch overrated of a stat if 2 of the 3 best in football right now are Tua and Mac Jones. And so why aren't the Patriots the favorites in the AFC with the coach and the defense and the home field advantage? Because deep down, you don't actually believe in the quarterback. Shouldn't. So that's the answer. The Chiefs are better. The Bills are better. If you guarantee me you're going to get their A game, I'd say the Ravens and Bengals are better, but those teams are so inconsistent, I'll give the Patriots the nod over them. But it's because of the quarterback, Broussard.
Well, look, he's a rookie. He's having a tremendous season. Tremendous, all right? But no rookie has ever, Wilds, led a team to the Super Bowl. I get it. There's a first time for everything, so we'll see. But I'm willing to upgrade. I'm not going overboard with you, Wilds. All right, I'm not jumping off this cliff with you. Because Nick's right, the Chiefs are the best team in the AFC. Doesn't always mean you're going to win the AFC and get to the Super Bowl, but the Chiefs are the best team. Here's what I'll give you, Wilds. I am willing to upgrade the Patriots. I have been saying all year since the preseason, you and I picked them to make the playoffs. Nick was just lost on the Patriots, and he was lost on Mac Jones. All right, you and I were there. I'm willing to upgrade the Patriots from just a playoff team to a legitimate Super Bowl contender. Now, Nick mentioned several teams, the Ravens, the Bills, the Bengals, whose ceiling is higher. And I would agree with him. Their ceiling is higher, but they're not consistent. The Patriots are, if nothing else, they're consistent. That defense is obviously legit. That run game is legit. And you got a quarterback who does not make mistakes. And contrary to what Nick says, he can throw the ball downfield. He's doing it more and more. He did it yesterday. Nice 40-some-odd yard completion to Jacoby Myers. He's got touch. We saw the great TD pass to Kendrick Bourne in the corner against the blitz. He's getting better and better every game, Wiles. So I'm with you there. But the Chiefs are the best team in the AFC. Number one, because of the quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. And against Bill Belichick, Wiles, he's averaged 30 yards, 30 points a game against Belichick in his career. Pass. And almost 300 yards. And the defense in Kansas City has picked it up. Held a Dallas team that scored 35. I'm done here. Wiles held a Dallas team that scored 35 against the Patriots to 9 points. They're balling in KC. They're the best team.
Ooh, are you sure about that? Just to push back. Because this idea that if a team plays their best, they would beat the Patriots. When has that happened? When have you seen in 20 years, like, you know what? That team came in and had a plan against Bill Belichick, and they executed it. They executed it to
the Eagles
perfection.
In the Super Bowl. Nick Foles.
Okay, good. You got one.
Hold that L.
Okay, we got one. Sorry, I'm sorry. We got one.
What about the Titans in the last playoff game? What about the Titans in the last playoff game the Patriots played? What about the Titans in the last playoff game the Patriots played? I'm just curious.
Adult GOAT wasn't focused. He was shopping for real estate when he should have been focused on Bill Belichick and the offensive game plan. He's too busy tweeting out Lion and Christopher Walken viral videos. Look, if you don't believe in the Patriots, sure. Why don't you petition the league? Say let's set it up for a Thursday night game. Bonus game coming soon. Chiefs Patriots. We'll see who wins. Bonus game. If you're so brave, put it out.
You gotta go.
Let's go.
Undisputed starts right now. See you tomorrow.
It's called the playoff.